He asked me, "You want to smoke pot?" I was like, "Yeah." I wanted to be cool.
I don't think it was peer pressure as much as I just wanted to be cool, and like everyone else was doing it.
The reason is because like my friends all around me were kind of like they started to use it, and it made me kind of want to try it. Kind of always sounded fun to me.
I found at a party and like I don't know, this girl was like, have this, and I was like, I guess okay.
My friends are vaping, so I suppose that's like how it started. But once I started like vaping myself, it was pretty fun.
Drug and alcohol use always has been and always will be an issue for students that the schools have to face. A recent survey showed that last year, over 60% of seniors reported using alcohol, and about 6% of seniors reported using marijuana or other substances daily.
My name is Jeff Harford. I am the resident agent in charge of the Drug Enforcement Administration for the state of North Dakota. I've seen an increase in the use of illegal narcotics and alcohol since I've been here in Fargo. Students are going to school to learn, to
What
be taught,
drugs
to grow in
/alcohol do
maturity
you use
level.
regularly?
A number of things kids learn in high school. Problem is when you introduce alcohol and narcotics to that, they don't mix well. Students end up not coming to school, their grades drop, delinquency happens. I can tell you that from my training experience that alcohol is still the number one abused drug. It has been for a long time and will always continue. The alcohol is used, probably used more alcohol and marijuana by high school students than anything else. And is alcohol a problem up here in the schools of Fargo, West Fargo? Yes, it is. And the worst thing about it is, to some degree, I think people condone it, which is wrong. It's illegal. We were taking a young adult male. He was either 18 and 19 years old, down to the federal building because we had arrested him based on that methamphetamine lab. And he was riding in my car with myself and another one of my agents. And he talked very oddly. He talked like this. You say, what am I being arrested for? He talked similar to people that have dentures and they take out their teeth. And my partner looked at me and says, "What is wrong with the guy?" And so I looked back and I looked at a young gentleman, and he had what they called meth mouth. In other words, the vast majority of his teeth had been eroded from the use of methamphetamine for so many years that he had very few teeth left in his mouth. And so he talked like, as I say it, like a gummer, if you want. Somebody that has dentures, they take them out, they talk kind of like dish. That was a very graphic example of what happens when kids, young adults, use methamphetamine.
What do you think should be done about this issue? Do you think it's school-based? And how do you think the school should try to prevent and fix the problem?
When I look at schools, high schools, elementaries, grade schools, any type, colleges, education is key. Education in this whole world of drug use and abuse, alcohol use and abuse, education is really key. And what I mean by education is that's starting out with school boards, school administration, teachers, coaches, all segments of the high school, middle school administration. And then really just sitting down and talking to students in large groups and small groups about the issues of drug use and abuse, and to include alcohol. So it's to me it's a very large educational issue that needs to be pushed hard by school administration, teachers, everyone, and to include your school liaison officers, your SROs, people who are professionals in the field, myself, chemical dependency counselors, the whole gamut. But education is really a key. And when I do talks to large groups of adults, one of my last slides is to say education is key, and it really is to this problem.
A little bit less than every day.
When did you first start to use these substances?
15.
Why did you first start doing them? More peer pressure or individual desire? Yeah. Do you have any stories or bad experiences?
Okay, I could have gotten myself into a lot of trouble. Halloween weekend, we were driving around and everyone was drunk except me, except we had just smoked. And there was also some other drugs involved, but we got pulled over, but we ran from the car, and the cops were patrolling like everywhere, but we had to run for like a few hours, and it was like 30 degrees outside. So I could have gotten into a lot of trouble for that, and that's why I kind of calmed down with, you know, sneaking out and stuff. So, yeah.
Do you think that you would still use drugs as much if less students use them?
I definitely would. Just because, I mean, I've kind of toned it down a little bit, but I think, especially what I'm using, especially responsibly, I think that it can benefit certain people in different ways.
How do you see these substances affecting your education? And do you ever come to school, high?
I don't like coming to school high, so I just don't, but I know other kids do. I have a 3.5 GPA, I'm doing good, like, school is doing fine, I don't have any stress related to it. I keep school and drugs separate, definitely. I don't want to get caught, so, yeah.
Do you think that these substances affect your personal relationships?
I like to say no, but I think that there's kind of a pressure, especially because my boyfriend does it. So, like, I always try to keep up, but I think that's probably the only thing.
Do you think that the school, does enough to try to educate students on this issue or even stop this issue at all, or do you think that they just kind of...
No, all I had was DARE, and all they really taught me was drugs are bad and marijuana is a gateway drug, which is definitely not a good education. I think what we need now that medical marijuana is legalized, I think we need a proper education on how it affects the human body, and like if you do make the decision to do that, like make sure to stay safe and just don't be stupid.
Yeah. Do you have, what does it say? Any last feelings that you have? Oh yeah, that was not even me. Do you think that it could lead to addiction? Like, do you think that you have like dependency?
I know that certain people definitely do. Like if they don't smoke for a few days, they get like withdrawal symptoms, which is like really extreme and crazy. So I'm not gonna outright say no, but it affects everyone differently, and to me, I don't think so. I can just stop whenever I want.
Alright, thank you.
Yes.
And you kind of already answered this, but how often do you use drugs/alcohol?
Yeah. Well, I normally like vape every day, but like I ran out of juice, so that's kind of out the window this week. But yeah, and then I plan to use weed more often, and then I don't know about drinking.
When did you first start to use these substances?
Vaping I started like either December or January, and then like I said, I started weed last week, and then alcohol since I was like 13.
Did you first start using these more for yourself or because of peer pressure?
And then I've always wanted to try weed, so it was cool that like my friend got me some, and then alcohol was because my dad's like, here, try some, so I guess that was the pressure. I feel like, you know, like you can look on Instagram and you can find like those vaping videos, and I thought those are pretty cool. And
do you think that you would still use drugs or alcohol, like if students weren't doing it as much?
honestly, I don't think I'd be introduced to them at all, so I don't think I would.
Yeah. How do you see these substances affecting your education, and have you ever come to school like high or drunk or buzzed?
Well, actually, the first time I tried weed, I had some really weird effects on myself. I actually went to church high, and that was pretty, that was pretty crazy. 'Cause yeah, and then the following 2 days, I was still having some sort of high, so it was really hard for me to concentrate. But it felt better because I wasn't as stressed as I normally am for school.
Do you think that these substances affect your personal relationships in any way?
I know that it would if I did tell people that I did them, because I have actively like asked my friends like, hey, how do you feel about weed? How do you feel? Kyle, don't. How do you feel about weed? How do you feel about vaping? How do you feel about alcohol? And they say, well, I don't like it, so I choose not to tell them.
Do you think that this issue should be left how it is and let students do whatever they like, or do you think that the school can take active steps into fixing this problem?
I feel like depending on the drugs that people take, especially with Xanax and like the whole Little Peep situation, I feel like people think that's more mainstream now and that it's very dangerous to take in large doses. Like my friend just took like 3 Xannies in like 3 days, and I was really scared for him because he was also doing like hydrocodone and smoking weed with me. So I was like, okay. So I think depending on the drug and how it affects the student should be regulated.
All right, thank you. How often do you use alcohol?
I go like twice a month.
Twice
Twice a month.
When did you first start to use these substances?
Like
sophomore year, beginning of sophomore.
beginning of sophomore year.
Why did you first start to use them? More peer pressure or individual desire? How do you acquire alcohol? Is it from like older people that are actually 21, or is it from other high school students?
People who are actually 21, and then they're high school students that have fakes.
Do you have any bad experiences from being under the influence?
Yeah, a lot.
Do you see people using alcohol at parties or somewhere else?
Honestly,
Do we see them?
Like, do you see it like, okay, this is more like for drugs, like if you see it just like recreationally, if you see it like at parties, like only at parties.
I've never really seen
Well,
like
does,
drugs
like-
at parties before.
Does like
I've never seen
marijuana count?
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know.
I don't know. I guess people smoke a lot. Like, I mean, I
They go
don't.
like before.
Oh, okay.
They don't do it like during parties.
Yeah.
Do you think that you would still use alcohol as much if less students used them or used it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you see these substances affecting your education if you do?
Not at all.
I
Like
don't think
I
it does.
prioritize my work way over partying. Like I'd way rather have my homework done before I go out like on a Saturday night or Friday night.
Do you think that these substances affect your personal relationships?
Not really, I guess. I mean, I haven't like lost any friends because of it. I mean, if people don't like me because of it, I guess I really don't fucking care. But
Do you think?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Okay. Do you think that this will affect your future in any way?
I think if you got caught.
but if you're just like
But if you're like if you're smart about it, if you're not doing
if you're
stupid
just like
stuff.
sitting in your if you're in your basement like just sitting there with it, like I don't
With like your two best friends, then
like
I
there's
don't
nothing
see
wrong with it. But like if it's like you're going out like you're
getting like
DUIs or
yeah,
like you're
and like hammered every night.
every
that's
single
different.
night, like you don't know your first name, like that's fucked.
Yeah.
But
Do you think that the school should be involved with student drug and alcohol use, and like how do you feel about like drug searches and stuff?
I think drug searches are fine because like yeah, like kids are like overdosing like on fentanyl and like on like people are like popping hydros or
And
whatever.
I think
they're
if
called.
you're freaking smoking weed in school, there's probably something wrong.
There's
with you.
something a
Yeah.
little yeah.
That somebody should probably step in and do something.
All right.
Names.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, so I guess we were driving like we picked up 2 friends from like this party or whatever, and
In a 5-person car.
in a 5-person car, there's 8 of us in it. 2 were in the
Trunk.
2 were in the trunk, and then there was 4 sitting in the 3-person back seat, and then 2 people in the front seats. I guess we were just driving, and then all of a sudden we started getting followed by a cop. We're like, fuck. Okay, so then we tried to turn off like into like a neighborhood and try to lose him, and then
But we all had
we had alcohol in the car. Like we had open bottles and like
like more than one.
yeah, and So we were driving, and then the cop it isn't just stop. It won't stop. Like he just keeps following us. So we pull onto the main road, and then all of a sudden lights flash on. We're like, fuck.
And there's only one sober person.
There's only one person, and that's the driver.
Mm-hmm.
Like we weren't gonna have any drunk driving going on, but I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and it was loud, and everybody was freaking out. Everybody was screaming. We got a kid in the back seat that's got a scholarship on the line. Not me, but other kids. Kids in the way back that's got a scholarship going for him, shit that will affect his future. And we're like, okay, well, we're fucked. We're basically fucked. So we park in this parking lot, and the cop comes in, has shining his flashlights in the car.
Definitely sees the
Definitely
two people
sees the two
in the
people in the
trunk.
back seat. But we had the alcohol. Thank God.
He gets, you had this.
I don't know.
He goes, you guys been drinking? I go,
No, not us. We just got done with Snowball. We're on our way home.
and then later that night, our friend rear-ended someone.
Yeah, and then they called us a hit and run. We just didn't. Yeah, it was
It was a rough
a
night.
mess. It was a mess.
All right.
It's okay.
But we got out of it.
Short story.
Oh, it's so.
We didn't get a ticket, and
Yep.
Yep.
All right. What drugs do you use regularly?
I smoke a good amount of marijuana.
How often do you use these drugs?
Would every day, all the time be a good answer?
Yes.
'Cause then that's it.
Yep. When did you first start to use these substances?
I was 16. I remember the date, actually, TBH.
What's the date?
April 16th, 2015? Something like that.
Why did you first start to use drugs? More peer pressure or individual desire?
Well, my homie was doing the marijuana, and I was like, TBH.
How did you or do you still acquire drugs?
Well, fuck, I don't want Rhonda to know.
Yeah,
Acquired drugs? Yeah, hit up the plug, I don't know.
I don't know. That's a question. Do you have any stories or bad experiences from being under the influence?
Well, I've had multiple panic attacks while being high. I've almost been arrested 2 times. And, it's good times, you know?
Mm-hmm. I know that question somewhere. Do you think you would still use drugs as much if less students use them?
I'd use it as much as I want to use it, I feel, because, it's more of a dependency thing at this point,
Yeah.
so probably no.
How do you see these substances affecting your education, and do you ever come to school high? And do you ever use these substances at school?
I won't use substances at school, because that's actually stupid. Yes, I'll come to school baked, and, it already is affecting my grades.
Do you think that using these substances affects your personal relationships?
100%. Me and my mom are not as close as we used to be. Me and my dad kind of hate each other now because of the events that have gone on. This motherfucker has smashed 3 of my pipes. What the fuck?
Do you think that using drugs now will affect your future?
No. Not this one in particular. Because I can get off of this easily. I can prove it, bet. And, yeah, I feel like, I can quit whenever I want to. So, if I need to get a job or I need to fucking pass a piss test, I have no problem doing that.
Do you think that this issue should be left how it is to allow students to do whatever they like, or do you think it's a problem that should be fixed by the school?
Here's my thought. Marijuana is not harmful at all, so the school needs to fucking calm down. I think the government needs to calm down. For fuck's sake, we got girls doing fentanyl in the bathrooms, and this is what we're worrying about.
But this is all drugs. Do you think that the fentanyl thing?
I think that's fucking that's a big problem because
Yeah.
people are dying.
Yeah. Do you think that the school should be involved with student drug use? What are your feelings on drug searches in the schools?
I feel like if you bring drugs to school, you're kind of a dumbass in the first place because you know that they're gonna search shit. Having drugs in your car is another thing that you know that they'll search shit. It's like you need to fucking just. I probably shouldn't swear.
No, we'll fix it. We'll fix it. We're recording over our voices, so it's fine. Do you think you kind of already answered this? Do you think these drugs can lead to addiction?
Most of them, yeah.
Okay.
Easily, yeah.
I don't know. Any stories? We already said that.
I could think of. All right, give me a moment.
Okay.
My favorite. Oh, I probably can't say.
You don't have to say names.
No, but it's even more funny because it's that person.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about because I think you just whispered it.
No, it was his first time dabbing, and my jackass of a friend loaded in it was at least half a gram. And he stopped smoking after that. We'll just say that much. Another fun time would be getting searched by the police with a pipe in my pocket and weed in my shoe. That's a good time.
All right. Thank